And there it is. We did it. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's meditation. I am Kari, and this is part two of our identity, um, the meta of our identity. So I want to start off by just speaking to um, how our action and reaction are both one and the same, right? Because all action gets to come from an analysis and reaction to the environment. And one thing that I think we lose sight often of more than not in this process of being spiritual beings, staying connected, remembering that we are both human and incredible beings, Christed beings that are capable of embracing the light, is that there is this amazing, and I'm hearing the word immaculate field of energy that is at any given time just waiting to open to us. And, it's a gift that in today's day and age, and for a couple thousand years now, as humans, we've possessed, meaning a little detail that gets skipped over oftentimes after the resurrection of Christ is the Pentecost, and how it was 50 days following the resurrection that Jesus, as the Christed being, was descending through the greatest degrees of density and form. And in the process of that, was at a collective level penetrating through, we could think of it as like creating and forging a pathway at a new level between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Obviously, I have no idea if that's medically true or not, but the reality is humanity up until that point in time didn't have vision and perception and intuition in the way that we relate to it. And even the most disconnected of us walking amongst us are or have, right? Like humanity was truly at that juncture of this very, very separate from, because our physical consciousness, the consciousness within the field of humanity, it just those beliefs didn't exist, and therefore the circuitry also didn't exist. And there's probably some stuff around the spiritual DNA and some genetics and other components that I'm not aware of. Again, I just simply speak to what I see and experience in the field. But what is so remarkable about that 50-day mark is that all of the disciples and all of the stories in that period of time, and from that period, especially as it's written in the Bible, speak about how they were seen with flaming heads. Everyone had flaming heads and looked like the Christed being, right? And was able to see the light and able to see heaven in ways that they hadn't before. Well, they're speaking to a Kundalini awakening, right? They're speaking to a major activation of the pineal gland. But more than that, they're speaking to the activation of an energy center, an opening of the nodes, right? There's many chakras all around our crown here that essentially blew open because of this act, because of, so often we think of that as sacrifice. And yes, and in many ways it was, but also an incredible gift, right? Like I can only imagine for Jesus, if not just the challenge and the pain, but this opportunity to be able to do such an incredible thing for so many, and how it in the heart of hearts, for the brief moments that all of us have experienced, like, wow, I have this opportunity to make this difference for this one person by just doing this one little thing, right? And how impactful that is. I can't even begin to extrapolate that out to all of human consciousness, right? So, what is incredible about it is that it not only all of human consciousness for all of time, because you and I are sitting here and we drop into these meditations to identify the metas of the frequencies, both through our vision and through our inner knowing, because of this act, right? It's not that other Christed beings haven't come, it's just they didn't fulfill that specific act in that level of activation in the consciousness for humanity. And so it's an incredible gift that we all, it literally shifted, it opened energy, and was probably one of many of the first that have been continuing to happen of a reclaiming, a reopening of the DNA, right? Like more times than not, especially in the fall, like in Krishna's time of Krishna's golden city, right? We know that in science has traced, a massive bottlenecking in human DNA to the impact of like over 6% on the global population, just because of what happened during that war of the fall um, of Krishna's golden city. So again, one of these junctures, one of these moments where we get to today benefit from that. And we get to remember that when we close our eyes and we ask for ourselves, for spirit to place its identity upon us, we are asking for the external to come in. And the acceptance we get to do is to allow our brain and our mind to self identify with that archetypal expression, that energy that is being shared and expressed. So I want to invite you to close your eyes, and we're going to start our light link. And I'm going to take you through visually an experience that I was blessed to receive, an invitation to um, a Journey Church here actually, it was in West Palm. And Journey Church here in West Palm has dedicated the Mondays in January, in the month of January, to going back to what they call the old-fashioned prayer, like the prayer of their times, where it's about music and just placing hands on each other and believing the power of the body of people as the vessels of the Christed light and being to create healing and to create miracles. And so they're doing this, they're calling them the living room sessions. And people are coming, and it's just song and prayer. And you can ask to be prayed upon and or to be prayed with, right? And whatever the experience is that comes out of that. So, what I want to take you through was a unique insight I had, knowing the field, seeing the fields of energy, seeing the metas, and the incredible shift that started to unfold in the room, as without even asking for prayer yet, people were just lifting their hearts up and proclaiming their worthiness to receive this light. And at the end of the day, this is one of the components to us receiving that identity, is accepting it, not only learning about it and allowing the energy to be imprinted upon us, to find that template, right? But then to unleash our own energy into the capacity of what that template has to offer. You could think of it as like we get to step on the gas, right? Like the car is determined maybe by the imprint and the template and the identity placed upon us. But as humans, we're in free will. We get to step on the gas. We're the ones that get to turn that flame up of the golden light, of the midnight flame, of the violet flame, of the pure azure flame, right? Of the pure flame, which is our own blueprint, of the azure flame, which is the future vision made real, of the ruby flame, of bringing it into our hearts and our bodies. So, in that sense, we could think of today, we're going to work ruby flame, that integration into the DNA of the flame through the golden light, bringing the Christed golden light, the imprint, if you will, to our hearts. So, with that, a lot of chatting, but I wanted to set this up so you're with consciousness around what we're up to. Go ahead, lick the lips, relax the jaw, allowing the mind to settle in to the room and to the moment. And as you send that light of consciousness up, that golden thread of consciousness up to the heavens, allowing yourself to just breathe. Just feel that sun, that light shining down upon your forehead. And taking a breath in with consciousness in this moment of like today's first breath. So often you hear me speak to this all the time. If we are like our phone or the device, what operating system are you booting? So if you booted on just whatever, today in this moment, you get to shift to the golden light, that operating system, to that identification. It's not just connection, but it's a receiving as we do this light link of that identity as a spiritual being. So as you imagine staring at the sun, let's slow this down, really focus in, because with that golden light, and as we imagine gazing at the sun, comes a focalization of the light, a burning through of the thoughts and the dross and the randomness of our lives and the to-dos that could look like the bright oranges and yellows and golds of the sun. And as we allow ourselves to come into the silence at the center, we find that pure white flame, that pure white heat of the diamond ray of your identity, the ways in which the Creator has come into form as you. So just breathe here. Let the silence speak. Let your mind settle down to that pure white light. And it may be that as you settle into it, you eventually feel yourself just sitting or being held, being embraced, being swaddled, sitting in the midst of a room or cloaked in all white, knowing that as you imagine that sphere or that bubble or that cloak of white light around you, it's simply a mirror reflection of what is being expressed from you. And let's go ahead and just anchor this in, wiggling our toes. And as you wiggle your toes, we now have this light holding us. For everyone, it feels about like mind to chest. And there is almost a darkness that I would like you to sense below the heart and into the feet. And as you wiggle your feet today, I want you to feel them immersed fully in the midnight flame. I want it to be dark. I want there to be darkness all around because I want you to connect to your infinite power to transmute energy. For from the darkness rises the greatest capacity of light. It is the womb, it is potential, it is, yes, the hardship and the challenges too. It is also the earth that provides the soil from which we blossom and grow. So wiggling those feet as though you're like, if you want to imagine you're in a body of dark water, if that's easiest. You could also pretend you're essentially buried in some quicksand, but not buried in a negative sense, but just rooted into the midnight flame. Your energy body rooted into the earth, trees rooted. Actually, have more capacity through their roots. They reach deeper into this midnight flame and into the earth than they do the skies and the heavens above. Think about that. Let yourself feel that. And the beauty of what we get to do in this moment is we remember our identity as star beings, as God and Goddess and the Divine Mother and the Divine Father, as our own beings, as children of this light, as the I am. Go ahead and we're going to harmonize in this moment that midnight flame. We want to allow ourselves not to emerge from, but to allow our roots to reach even deeper, to feel and feel for that pure flame at the center of the earth. Imagining as you wiggle your toes, it's like having them in the bottom of a bed on a cold day, and there's just warmth down there. Maybe it feels chilly at first, but just warmth at the end of those sheets as you snuggle in, feeling yourself wrapped, cozy, while still holding this pure flame, this white light in your mind and in your heart. You can play with it. You can toggle, dropping it from the mind down into the heart. And what's interesting, much like if you have a ball on the surface of water that's inflated and you have to push it down, it kind of want to pops back up. So play with that toggle. Notice how as we drop that brilliant white light in your mind's eye, and for those of you that are my feelers, it may just feel like calm, and it may feel like water rolling down the inside of your neck. It may even feel like swallowing a bite that feels kind of big until you feel it drop into your stomach. Let your imagination show you what this white diamond ray burning brightly in your pineal gland feels like. Use physical sensation. Use the sensation of dropping beneath the surface, the force sometimes that we exert to drop that ball, to push it beneath the surface of the water. Play around here. Find the physical sensation. Do this. Be in your Christed spiritual star being form in the midst of the density, letting yourself be completely and fully submerged and just breathing, just breathing. As I mentioned, I was going to take you through the story of the experience that I had this past week. And what I saw as the congregation began to sing was all Midnight Flame. And for many of us who are empaths, there was a huge shift in awareness for me. As empaths, we have to shield, we have to protect. We often think of that like, don't take it in because there's so much data that comes at us, so many different emotions. It's like you can't focus in on one thing. People wonder why people have ADD and ADHD. Well, because if you're open, that's so much to process and it's overload. But what if in this moment, as we focus in on this light, receiving this identity, accepting it as our own, as a star being, as the creator, as I am, well, then it doesn't matter what's coming in. We have capacity for it all. And so there was this massive shift where in a room that I normally would just hold the filters up, not even consciously, that I just wanted to clear my vessel, my being out. That in the midst of this midnight flame, whatever the excess was and the turmoil was, that I could be here, be present, that it would be handled. All I had to do was ask for it to be cleared out, to focus on deepening my roots so that vessel could empty. So instead of being in a room full of hundreds of people where I would normally shut down or close off in some regards, I want you to do this with me. I sunk my roots in deeper. And as those roots sunk, it was a force that pulled that light from the mind down into the heart. Go ahead and give yourself that sensation through the body, feeling a tug in the balls of your feet, feeling a tug down your spine, a dropping, a sinking. For it is not up to us to hold barriers of protection. It's already provided for. The earth, the divine mother, she harmonizes and alchemizes through this field of the midnight flame, through this field of potential. It's incredible and so far beyond what we're able to do. And so, like a pebble sinking to the bottom, actually go ahead and see if you can even get that diamond ray to drop into your belly even further. That white flame all the way down through the tail, through the left foot and the right foot, into the earth chakra, resting 2 feet beneath. And notice that the further we drop it, this incredible violet flame begins to emerge. And that's what I saw. As everyone was raising their voices in song, there was this synchronization and harmonization. And we know through the astrological sign of Libra that first level is relationship, relating. So, what have we been doing? We've been relating to our identity as star beings, as creator beings, as I am. And as I've been talking and you've been dropping this light through, we're harmonizing the second level of Libra. Feel that settling in. And in that harmony comes that sacred marriage, that sacred blend, the mastery, the flame of mastery, the ascended masters of the violet flame. Feeling yourself now just surrounded in this purple light, having relied on the midnight flame, the identity that we can handle all things because we are the midnight flame, because we are the divine mother, because we are the earth. And as you feel this peace and this calm around your heart, this harmonizing of all elements and parts of your being, both in human form and spirit form and earth form, in star being form and Christed light form, you name it. It's all here as we allow this template of the Christed light, of the golden ray, of the sun to take over and be our guide, to truly operate from this operating system. I began to notice that the song and the music picked up the rhythm and the tempo. I want you to feel that through this harmonizing field, that harmonization within your own body. Maybe you're seeing pulses of purple. Maybe you're just feeling like all the weight of the world has dropped off of your shoulders as we allow this identity in us to take hold. We know in the sacred marriage, it's not just one and two things coming together, not just masculine and feminine, star being and earth being, human being coming together, but there is a portal that opens. And the songs and the words that were sung in that moment that opened that portal, that literally, as I observed this field of light unfolding before me, was like the heavens opened. A stream, a beam of light, I'd say about 30 feet in diameter, opened. And through it, the heavens shone through, and these beings flooded in. But the song that was being sung was I am worthy. I am worthy. So lifting your hearts through this violet flame and allowing for the true imprint now. It's already here. It's already in you. You've received it. But through declaring your worth, what begins to happen? The blossom begins to unfold. The flowering takes root, for your roots are sunk deep into that of spirit. So, in this moment, in your heart now, let your I am presence as a child of God, of the goddess, of the mother, of the father, of the divine, of the creator unfold. Think about that. You are not just a human, you are a child of God, which by definition means you are a God. Allow that to open this blossoming within your heart, within your belly, within your mind. And stay out of your mind. Just let your body feel power within you by simply being. I'm going to take a few breaths here to allow for the unfolding and for spirit to move through you, for the silence to speak. I want you to pray in this moment upon yourself and upon any of those with you. Send a prayer for courage, for strength, for hope, for ease, for grace, for you to know this I am within you. Your potential is endless. In this moment, we together, collectively, are achieving a potential that supersedes all things, for it is in us that the work gets done, and it is through us. For we have this capacity to be both, to be heaven, to be earth simultaneously, and to be our own being. Let yourself in this moment receive the blessings of this light, of this potential that lives within you. Go ahead and rise up in your spine. Feel yourself emerging up above the surface of that midnight flame. Feel the sparkles and the glow of golden light. You now fully, as this beam, as this ball, radiating light, trusting that the force, the power, the sensation you feel in your hands, through your touch, through your words, it's yours. It's your creation force. Letting your mind calibrate and relax into this metta as you breathe in and out. Go ahead and roll the shoulders up by the ears, getting even taller in the spine. Feel as you lift the shoulders, the tailbone opening. And then rolling the shoulder blades back down the spine. You are light. You are love. You are enough. It is an honor and a privilege to be here, to be in this space with you, to hold this field with you, to arrive at these awarenesses, and to have these remembrances with you. I want to invite you to conclude this meditation today in the same way I did. If you're with someone and they've been here with you, go ahead and ask them for your blessing. That did make sense. Go ahead and ask them to give you a blessing. That's what I meant to say. Through that, we see the power in each other. And if you don't have anyone with you, and especially if they haven't come through this, think about the effect of asking someone else to give you a blessing. What a strange request. And yet, in doing so, you see this light and instantly turn it on in them, for it's alive in you. And all you're simply doing is bringing consciousness for them to this incredible potential alive in them. So, with that, may today be full of so much light and love and blessings. Namaste. So much love.